All right, guys. So now, look, we got to finish up the rest of these notes. And I want you to always focus on this. Remember, it says living systems require the exchange of macromolecules or matter. So, we have to live, we have to eat, we've got to exchange molecules with the environment, right? And so the molecules we're going to be talking about, right, are the carbohydrates, the proteins, the nucleic acids, and the lipids. Now, I want you to look up here the CHNOPS. So roughly about 90% of our body are made up of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur, schnapps, or whatever you want to call that. Keep that in mind, okay? So let's jump into the four organic molecules here. Now, carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, and lipids. Probably what you need to remember here is that all of these will contain carbon. Now, in order for it to be considered organic, it's got to have carbon and hydrogen. Now, in biology, that's a little different than farming organic, right? Organic farming just means you don't use, like man-made fertilizers. But in biology, organic means it has carbon and hydrogen in them. So remember, carbon, we're going to come back to this down here, but carbon is like one of the most versatile, the building materials of the elements in the periodic table if you want to build a living thing, right? So all four of these have got to have carbon in them. Now, only proteins and nucleic acids are going to contain nitrogen, and then phosphorus, which is usually good for your bones and things of that nature. You're going to find phosphorus in the nucleic acids like your DNA, your RNA, and then lipids. The lipids are our fats, waxes, and our oils. Okay? Let me erase this. Okay, now let's check out, the big three, kind of the big three. Carbon. 18, if you weigh 100 pounds, 18 pounds of you is approximately carbon. I weigh about 200 pounds, so I have 36 pounds of carbon inside of me. But the carbon is used to build anything organic, anything living. Okay, that's the big thing. Nitrogen, it's floating around in the air. It's kind of inorganic. Plants are able to take it out of the air, and we eat the plants so we can get this nitrogen. But we use nitrogen to build the proteins and nucleic acids of our bodies. The phosphorus is an element that's locked up into rocks, and as the rocks tend to erode away, this washes out into the soil. But we got to have this. It's used to build lipids and nucleic acids. So these are kind of the three things that we get. They tend to come in cycles and things of that nature. We'll talk about those a little later. Now, carbon. I always say it. I say it in Biology 1, and I say it in AP Bio. I say it here. If you want to build a skyscraper, you're going to use the most versatile material to build the skeleton. In the case of a skyscraper, it's going to be steel. We can bend the steel, we can connect the steel, we can bolt it, we can turn it into this shape, that shape. It's very versatile. And so why is carbon so special? Well, think about it. Carbon, it can bond like this in 4 different places. And if you look at the periodic table, it's the one element that can bond with the most other elements on that table. And that makes it very, very versatile. And so it's very easily to use to build large molecules. So we can build large molecules with it. Now, kind of a cool thing that it can do that no others can is that it can build chain structures. This is that carbon skeleton, or it can make a ring. That's another carbon skeleton. There's a compound called benzene that's a ring of carbon with a little hydrogen on. It's very stable when it comes into contact with acid, but that's a ring structure. Branches off, so it has a skeleton that can branch off and make different shapes. So it can build big molecules, but sometimes the shapes are different, and this makes it very, very versatile. Now, if you look at, so like a carbohydrate, you can see the carbon ring here, And I want to point this out, and you can notice that this lipid here, this big long, it's called a triglyceride, you'll notice that it has this carbon chain skeleton. And always remember that wherever the carbon is located and locked on a carbon, that's where energy is stored. So you can see, wow, there's a lot of energy stored here, because look at all the bonds that we have here. Okay, nucleic acids, you can kind of see a branch structure and kind of like a ring, but you get to see this. These are in, carbon is in everything. Now, if you have questions, you've got to tell me in class. You've got to let me know. But right now, that's all you need. And next time, we're going to go into the biological molecules in more detail.